The royal guards of Solara were trained to face anything. They had fought pirates from the void, beasts from the black moons, and assassins with blood colder than ice. Yet when the shadow creatures came born from the Queen's own laboratory accident, those same guards turned and ran. Their armor clattered against the shining floors as they fled, leaving behind the woman they had sworn to protect. Queen Seraphine stood frozen at the heart of her shattered throne room. Black tendrils crawled along the walls, devouring light and matter alike. Her lungs burned as the toxic air thickened. The world she had ruled for decades was collapsing around her, and every loyal protector had vanished. Everyone except him. The human soldier, Ethan Cross, did not run. He was the Queen's hostage once, a prisoner of war captured after the Terran-Zalaran conflict. Now he stood in front of her throne with nothing but a scorched rifle and eyes that glowed with something even stronger than defiance duty. "Your guards are gone," Seraphine whispered, her voice trembling. "You are not even one of us. Why stay?" Ethan's jaw tightened. "Because I promised. I would not let another world die while I could still fight." The creatures hissed, sensing life. Their forms shimmered like smoke and oil. Ethan raised his weapon, firing bursts of plasma into the advancing darkness. Every shot lit the throne room with a brilliant flash. Every breath he took tasted of metal and fear. But he stood firm. Behind him, Seraphine watched in disbelief. No Zelaran warrior had ever risked everything for her, not since her ascension. Yet this human, once her enemy, fought with a fierceness she could not comprehend. He shouted for her to move, to escape through the emergency passage, but she could not leave. Something in her heart refused. The throne cracked as another surge of black matter burst through the floor. Ethan dropped his rifle and drew his combat blade, its edge humming with ion energy. He charged forward, slashing through the shadows, cutting them apart with sheer will. When the last of the guards looked back from the corridor, they saw him still standing, surrounded by a sea of darkness, protecting their queen with nothing but his body and unbroken spirit. And for the first time in her life, Queen Seraphine felt fear not for herself, but for the human who refused to abandon her. The storm of shadows raged for what felt like hours. Ethan's blade flickered, its energy almost gone, but still he fought. The floor around him was black and broken. The air was heavy with smoke. When the last creature turned into dust, he fell on one knee, his armor cracked and his breath short. Queen Seraphine walked to him slowly. The light from the ruined throne made her silver skin glow faintly. She had ruled worlds and crushed enemies, but this sight broke her. A human soldier, her old prisoner, had saved her when her own guards had run. "You should have left me," she said softly, kneeling beside him. "Your kind has no reason to fight for me." Ethan looked up, his face pale. "Maybe not for you," he said, "but for what is right. No one deserves to die alone." Her heart ached in a way she had never known. She placed her hand on his chest, feeling the weak beat of his heart. "The toxin is spreading," she whispered. "You are dying." "Yeah," he said weakly, "I know." She could have escaped then. She could have saved herself, but something inside her changed. The courage of the human had broken the wall around her. Heart, she tore the royal control seal from her wrist and pushed it into his armor. "This will open the gates," she said. "It will take you to the outer dock. Go." He shook his head. "Not without you." The queen stood tall, her eyes bright with power. "That is an order, soldier." For a moment they stared at each other. Queen and warrior, enemy and protector, bound by something beyond words. Then the ground shook again. The walls screamed with fire. She turned away and faced the darkness alone. Ethan moved toward the gate, every step heavy with pain. Behind him, the queen lifted her hands, her power burning brighter than the stars. When the blast came, it filled the sky with white light. The guards who had run saw the glow from afar. They fell to their knees in silence. While they had run, the human had stayed. The dawn rose over the ruins of the palace. The black clouds faded and the air grew still. The once proud capital of Zalara was silent. Only the sound of distant fire and broken stone filled the wind. Ethan Cross woke among the wreckage. His armor was half melted, his body weak, but he was alive. The seal the queen had given him had protected him from the final blast. He tried to stand, but pain forced him to the ground. He looked toward the palace and saw nothing left but ash and light. He crawled through the rubble, calling her name. There was no answer, only the echo of his own voice. Carried by the wind, he found the shattered crown near the old throne. Its silver edges were burned, but still it shone softly. He picked it up and held it to his chest. The guards returned hours later. Their eyes were filled with shame. They found the human sitting beside the ruins, guarding what little remained of their queen. None dared to speak. He looked at them once and then looked back at the horizon. Your queen fought until the end, he said. She saved your world, now honor her memory. The words spread through the empire like fire. Soon every Zelaran spoke of the human who had stayed when all others ran. They built a statue where the palace once stood, a figure of stone, standing tall with a blade in hand, guarding the crown at his feet. Ethan never returned to Earth. He stayed among the Zelarans, helping rebuild what was lost. The people who once called him enemy began to call him protector. The queen was gone, but her name lived on with his joined forever. In the story of the light and the shadow, years later children would ask who the man of stone was, and their elders would answer, he was the one who stayed when the guards ran. He was the human who protected the queen. He was the proof that courage needs no race, no crown, and no throne. And so the legend of Ethan Cross, the human guardian of Solara, lived for generations, never forgotten by the stars.